very interesting pick in the mid lane just because you get Proto Belt first, and then you flip. You flip someone.
T1 would put in a very difficult spot.
Yep.
Either ban the Singed or either ban the Senna. But considering how terrifying Singed has been in the hands of the WRL teams, I don't blame them for taking that and choosing the lesser evil in the Senna being given away. But one huge factor for T1 is Camille being picked up here.
I love this pick coming from T1. Do they take a book, or take a page rather? They can take a whole book in a library. But I guess right now, Corki, that has been picked earlier in the draft in game number 1 by J-Team. And that book, that lesson was you need wave clear, a huge amount of wave clear to maneuver around your mid jungle, the top side. And J-Team saying that, okay, hey, my turn to use the Jax. I'm going to use it. I'm going to show you how it's done.
Riku, if J-Team wanted to pull an absolute psychic damage blow to T1, okay, not quite the full-on reverse
Swap.
pick.
Yeah.
But imagine if J-Team had opened up with Senna, Jax, Nasus, and they went into this game, and it doesn't go T1's way, and J-Team closes out. Not only J-Team get the first game win, but they also take T1's composition and say, yeah, we can beat you with the composition that you just lost with.
And exactly. They're basically spelling it out that we don't need a Nasus. You can ban it in the second rotation of bans. We're going to take the Gragas, and then we can swap it either for Pan or for DY. And remember, DY is such an insane Gragas player. Remember, this guy can 2v2 you in the lane no matter what his partner is. No matter if that's a Ziggs, that's a Senna, it's still going to work.
Important note, though, for T1, they are pivoting towards an earlier, more aggressive game. JY with the Lee Sin. I remember tuning into the WCK during year 0 in 2021 when the Korean scene was still young before we got even close to Horizon Cup. JY had by far one of the best Lee Sins in the entire region. Is going to have to dig deep to pull out a win and find the early snowball to leverage a game comeback for T1.
And it makes me curious what that mid-jungle pair is going to appear this time around, because that Corki can still be towards BDG. And if you want to get that early lead, you can focus towards top side and mid lane as well. We'll see what the decision is going to be, because I feel like T1's going to have a difficult time, considering the fact that, again, J-Team has disengaged. They don't have the Braum this time around, but the Gragas is super good against all ends, and now they have the Rakan as well for that big all-in.
You already saw how well RRQ was able to demonstrate the power of a Rakan. I don't think Core
Mid lane!
Yeah, and now we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. I don't think Core knows about the sauce, about the AP Rakan in the mid lane, or has it well practiced. But in the hands of Penguin, combining a powerful all-in engage with Jong on the Camille, most likely at this point, that is the way that T1 can find victory in this game. But J-Team, you already talked about it before. Powerful disengage from the Gragas and the Senna, and now you're adding a Wukong into the mix.
It's the same iteration of disengage combining with engage. This is a little bit of everything. But the problem that I could potentially see, finally a Yasuo! I'm so happy. You know how frustrated when I see a Wukong and a Gragas and they don't pick Yasuo. Now we get to see a Brand. This is so nice, Rafa. T1's gonna burn everyone down on J-Team side, and it works so well. Because 4 melee champions on the board, that means the Pyroclasm can just easily bounce in and out of people.
Riku, throw out the books. Throw out the whole library because it's burning to the ground. T1 say that we are changing everything in this draft. Screw the late game scaling. We're going all in on this early mid game. And when you get a bunch of short range champions like J-Team has, mostly bruisers, apart from the Senna, that is where a brand thrives best. The Pyroclasm, as you mentioned, as long as the wind wall doesn't catch it and stop it from getting its maximum usage, it is going to deal in their reach. It is game 2 between these two.
Oh, there's so many things to be happy about this draft, Rafa. I mean, the fact that we finally get to see a Wukong Gragas in the same team, and then suddenly they pivot something without a wombo combo. And finally, the Yasuo. This is so classic from year 0, from League of Legends. A lot of enablers of that big knock-up for the ult coming from hand. So I'm so excited to see that push through. And the fact that there's also a secondary carry on the board, which is Cherry here on the Jax, that means J-Team doesn't have to funnel all their, all their pressure towards Cherry on the Jax.
40 seconds already into the game. No major moves have been made yet. All eyes are on JY from T1 to really leverage things and to get the snowball rolling. If you don't make any proactive moves on this Lee Sin when you're against something like a Jax, the clock starts ticking.
And that's why JY is on this Lee Sin to be able to, set the tone this time around. They're the ones who should move proactively in the early games. And as we see now JY making that effort, I feel like when we talk about gankable lanes, we see that Zhong's lane is the most gankable just because you have a Hextech ultimatum, you got wave clear from core. If you have priority in the mid lane, then boom, you can 3-man dive Dawn in the top portion of the map.
And Dawn, no stranger to the Baron lane dive, as he was the one alongside Cherry that inflicted it upon Zhong.
Yep. Dawn
hiding under the crevices of his tower. JY is level 3 alongside Zhong. A level 3 from Dawn, using the clone to dodge out. However, the turret, oh god! Dawn in the 1v2! Dawn says you can take away the Camille, but you can't stop me from having the top of my game.
Dawn is insane! What a play! JY Zhong wanted to set that up, but unfortunately, you saw how JY wanted to get the turret aggro. Damage was still not enough. Dawn played that so well. Had barrier, had flash. There's another fight.
J-Team now threatening to dive onto the bottom lane tower. 248 HP, but it is salvaged by JY, who comes in, forcing the flash out of DY, taking on the Sonic Wave, but beautiful body slam from DY. Stops the damage from coming through. Now Cherry comes in with the punish, and T1, all their early advancements are being neutralized by J-Team.
That J-Team is such a scary team, my word. The fact that they're able to get kills on the Wukong, deny the dive from JY and Zhong, and the fact that Cherry even gets a kill. Let's take a look at that top lane dive once more. You get to see Dawn trying to clear the wave as well. JY hanging onto the fringes of aggro, but unfortunately, again, they couldn't deal enough damage. Dawn playing that super well as well. With those things combined, Dawn, my word, he's so good.
I thought I was already done being amazed by this guy after the Camille game in game 1 of this series. But now he is already thriving. A 1v2 isolated double kill for the Baron lane. That takes away so much tempo from T1's plan, because Cherry was farming during that entire time that JY was investing resources into making that gank work. The fact that it flounders like that is so critical to the success of J-Team.
Exactly. If you look at bottom lane as well, it's only a little bit of turret pieces left for that to still stand, as in 200 HP left. That means J-Team not only outplayed top and jungle, but also is able to get first blood tower, especially if they're able to push this wave.
And now if you are T1, you have one more play in your playbook left as the Lee Sin. It's hitting level 5, you have the Dragon's Rage available. If you can find one play, one kill that is able to get a decent amount of change back into your pockets to stabilize this gold deficit currently, which is now 4,000 from J-Team, you can start bringing this game back so that you can bridge towards this Brand Corki late game.
And I think that is the opportunity that T1 has to wait for, right? This team goes!
There it is! JY with the kickback! Penguin with the knockup that follows up onto Pan! And that is T1 striking back when it is necessary!
Yeah, let's go! That was so sneaky. Pan didn't see that coming. Is this the retaliation?
Dawn flashing forward, gets the 2-man knockup with the Cyclone, falling up for additional knockup. The explosive cast kicks right back on to JY, but he flashes out. He manages to escape with his life.
Yeah, that is a flashless JY. So that play later on, 13 seconds on the clock for the first spawn in the game. And we'll see. J-Team is so primed to fight right now. They're gonna shadow T1. Which objective are you gonna take? We're gonna take that. We're gonna follow you. We're gonna fight you. We're gonna force you into a situation that you're not prepared for.
First Dragon and Rift Herald has spawned at this point in time. Riku, let's take a quick vibe check At the items completed, JY with the Yumu's Ghostblade, Hullbreaker, 4-4 as well. Divine Thunders for both of Baron lanes respectively.
Now, Cherry's still not having enough gold to finish that Triforce, so we'll have to see if that's going to be completed. If they're able to stall out, there we go. That's completed. They went home, they went back to base, and they're ready. Again, this 200 Divine Thunderer Dawn, and as well as Armor Boots, my word. This is a scary, scary Wukong indeed. Solari Charge Blade already completed as well. That means, you know, they're just basically ready to fight.
T1 trying to start up the Dragon right now, ceding control of the Rift Herald because they know they've already lost meaning for it. But the first brick going the way of J-Team. But that's not going to stop J-Team from looking to contest for the fight. Already Cherry and Dawn jumping right up. But it's the answer back from Penguin. Two-man knockup, but do they have the damage right on back? BDGG has already expended the Pyroclasm and answers back into 2 kills against DY and Cherry. JY going back in, but you cannot stop the Wukong from knocking you back into the stratosphere. Zhong sailing on with the hook shot. Pan flashing forward, looking for a Steel Tempest. Doesn't have the last breath. Core is able to kite him on back. Dawn is looking for Boar. The flash from Zhong takes out the Monkey King, and Barry has to retreat.
That is what we were waiting for, right? T1 was waiting for an objective so that they can fight 5v5. What did we talk about, Rafa, during the draft? Everyone on the side of J-Team. Basically melee. What's the Pyroclasm gonna do? Bounce in, off, in, out of champions nearby in melee range, basically. That's exactly what happened. Tons of damage, and the fact that everyone from J-Team is practically squishy. And look at that, guess what? We're seeing HP items on the board already. That means that's gonna work so much in favor of BDG.
And BDG isn't even at full strength on this brand yet. The fact the Pyroclasm is doing that much work off of a Rod of Ages that hasn't scaled to its full 10 stacks yet means that T1 have more in store. J-Team, they're not going to take another chance contesting the Dragon. They are respecting the BDG power of this brand. It ensures a trade of objectives for both teams.
And it's worked so well in T1's favor, right? Where J-Team wants to initiate. They want to set the Wombo combo. They want to... Wait!
Another kick, another pick onto DY. T1 overwhelming mid lane and taking out the support for J-Team. Pan is left to defend the tower, but now that opens up an avenue on the bottom side of the map.
The BDG still has Pyroclasm.
JY dashing in, huge knockup onto 2, but JY gets obliterated before he can finish off Pan. He's burning to a crisp, but not enough to go down officially. But Zhong comes in from the bottom side of the map, trades one back.
Crazy, the positioning of both of these top laners, Zhong and John, basically trying to come from different angles to find a straggler from both of these teams. At the end of the day, it's an even trade off of that skirmish, but it just still shows how scary, once BDG has Pyroclasm, JT has to steer away.
We are 8 minutes into the game, Riku, and I'm not gonna lie, the way that the first 3 minutes opened up, I was ready to throw in the towel on T1's behalf. J-Team had done such a great job of being able to neutralize any of the attempts that T1 made in the very early parts of the game. But it's their determination, it was their persistence that T1 are able to fight back and now neutralize that gold lead. It used to be 4,000, now only 2,000.
And this is what T1 and the WCK region is amazing at. You lose kills, rather. You die from your team, but at the same time, the way that they equalize the gold, they stabilize the gold to make sure that if J-Team jumps on you, you can fight back.
JY looking for a flank on the left side, but it's the package from Core that separates the members of J-Team. Dawn looking for the follow-up on the Cyclone. Last breath has already been expended. Dawn forcing Penguin off to the backside. JY looking for the flank, picks off Cherry, but can he clean up the stragglers here? J-Team still have strong members in Pan, who's blinking on HP, but he manages to stay alive. J-Team able to squeak out the advantage.
Everyone is playing out of their minds right now. The fact that Pan almost died, did a tornado to make sure to stop Zhong from landing that last hit, but I felt like J-Team pulled the trigger because they know that JY wasn't there. In the meantime, this could be another kill.
Oh, DY with Body Slam Flash trying to lock down JY. He's dancing, dipping in and out. Stasis dodging out on the route here, but he's got nowhere to run because he is cornered by a giant dude with a barrel, and of course Senna is there to help ensure that T1 are falling behind ever so slowly.
You gotta love how JT moves around the map, right? They don't take breaks thinking of how they can take a pick, how they can use the side lanes, how they can take advantage of the map state. They saw JY over there, just wanting to push the wave, wanted to shove the wave, clear that, and boom, 2 people were there, apparently, and they're able to eliminate him.
T1 still confident that they can find plays as BDG accumulates more and more gold. He's not getting as much resources, though, as his counterparts in Barry and DY, respectively, as this Senna, not necessarily the ones doing the farming, it's more so DY. So both of these champions getting a lot of gold and stats being built up, whereas BDG struggling to find that gold accumulation.
And I feel like it's gonna be solely reliant, again, on these objective fights, because that's the time you know everybody from J-Team is gonna be there, and you see it coming. If you're in a Dragon Pit or a Rift Herald pit, you know that J-Team is there as a whole entire unit. If you see it coming, you know how to react. But without objectives, you don't know where they're going to be coming from if you don't have vision. You don't know what they're going to do next. And I feel like that's the struggle right now that T1, the window that they need is always these objectives.
And you see T1 looking proactively for a pick onto Pan, but the rotations from J-Team snuff it out before it even gets a chance to happen. T1 forced to retreat here, just in time. Dragon, not up for quite some time here. J-Team just looking to control. BDG getting a huge burst of damage onto Dawn, but he answers back with the Cyclone. Last breath is there. Explosive cast scatters the members of T1. They're all sent asunder. Core and JY looking for the flank onto Barry, and he's been routed off. They might be able to trade one back for one, but the root and Barry with the sustain keeps himself alive. JY tries to sail on through, but he cannot take him out. Barry might burn down it, but it's not even close. Barry stays alive. No one goes down from J-Team.
And this is Cherry busy taking out the Rift Herald. J-Team wasn't even complete at all in that fight, and it was BDG in that brush, waiting for the rest of J-Team to be clumped together to maximize that pyroclasm. But guess what? J-Team so ready for that. They were able to knock him up, get that last breath set, and then win that fight. Take note again, I repeat, Cherry wasn't there.
And now J-Team are all strong as 5 members here in the Dragon Pit. T1 package is being used by Core to separate the members of the fight, but Penguin and Core are the only ones in this 2-on-3. JY comes in as the second win. Dawn once again stifling JY with the knockup. He doesn't even get a chance to contest for the steal on the Dragon. Cherry manages to go down thanks to Jong. Now Jong, the question is, can he get out of live? I don't think so. The root locks him down for J-Team to take him out. And once again, Riku, we have a prime
gaming
ace!
Insane there coming from J-Team. Every single time JY wants to go in with the Sonic Wave, there's a knock-up greeting him. There's a tornado from Pan greeting him. There's DY's body slam, therefore denying any sort of outplay potential from JY on this Lee Sin. J-Team just reading T1 like a book again.
All of T1's efforts once again being neutralized, and there are so many members to point out here and to celebrate, but in our Coca-Cola pop-off, it has got to be Dawn, who prevents T1 from finding those kills time and time again.
Yeah, the way that this fight has basically split up into 3 key parts. There's Dawn, or rather Cherry, busy fighting off Core. There's a fight in the middle of the Dragon lane. There is DY as well at in the mid lane, being able to eliminate Penguin, and there's another fight.
3-man knockup from Penguin, but the damage is not going to follow up because they're too busy retreating. J-Team are too terrifying to deal with. T1 are running for the hills, and J-Team is sending them there graciously, even faster, to a trip to the fountain. The Rift Herald has been spawned, Riku, and Jong trying to recall in time, but I think this is going to be it. The Rift Herald, we're going to get a dancing Shelly on the Nexus turret. It's going to dance, and it's going to charge. Gets the last bit of damage. Another Prime Gaming ace, and J-Team will join Nova Esports and JDG at the group stage.
My word, everyone from the WRL has has assembled in the next stage, which is the group stage, and in too old-fashioned as well. Coming from J-Team, very dominant from the first game to the second, and
region, maybe Team Flash, you know, maybe a region has a team that could beat out these Chinese teams consistently, perhaps.
There's also might be a situation where we might just get a full Chinese semi-final as well. I mean, I wouldn't be
don't say that.
Honestly,
Don't even say that.
I honestly
Don't even
won't
say
be
that.
surprised. I honestly won't be surprised if we see an all-Chinese semi-final. Obviously, it's not like the best scenario. You know, you want to see China against Korea. You know, you want to see China against other regions. But honestly, I just think China in general, I think they've come here to play now. I think, you know, there's been a little bit of hiccups here and there, but they're just showing after every single game, every single one of their seeds, you know, the second, third, and fourth seeds. And we haven't even seen FPS